You know, you guys are like the modernized Waltons.
What's the Walton? Oh, like the old show?
Yeah, the old show. The
Rocky
Waltons.
makes up his own words too.
Okay.
Yes, I make up my own stuff, my own words.
That's okay.
I like the Walton. Do you remember the old TV shows?
Yes, I do. I used to watch TV. I mean, I was a TV addict. My goal in life was to get home as quickly as possible. Yeah, I could start watching the TV. And I knew what shows came on when. I knew all the theme shows, the theme songs memorized.
Oh, yeah.
And I watched a ton of TV.
So if you look back in history, TV shows were made for us to learn things.
Okay.
You take the Waltons, you take Little House on the Prairie, you take any of those older shows,
Hope we start
they should learn things.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
So, but now you look at the TV shows today, you don't learn anything.
Okay.
But if you look at the old shows, okay, for example,
All right.
you look at Little House on the Prairie.
Yes.
Okay. When Laura's dog passed away, you know, her dad came down and talked to her about how, hey, this is unfortunately, this is what happens, you know, or stealing piece of candy from the store or whatever.
Or Albert getting addicted to drugs and then having to go through withdrawals. That was traumatic. I didn't ever want to touch drugs after that show.
Right.
And when Nellie found someone to marry,
Oh
that
my gosh, that was a miracle.
that was a miracle, and it shows that everybody can find a person.
There you go.
Not true.
Yeah, and so
See? What? Did you say it's not true?
No, did you say not true?
No, I said, isn't that true?
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, everybody can find somebody. So even if it's Nellie Olson. But
Yeah.
Boy, how you?
but then you look at the shows today, oh, I have 2 dads,
Yeah.
or I've got 3 moms.
Okay.
Or about the divorce families or the Kardashians. What do we learn from those kind of TV shows than what we used to learn from the old TV shows?
So I think somebody might push back and say that TV is just a reflection of society. And if you look at, let's take comic books as an example. What was needed most when Superman came around? When
They needed that hero.
they needed a hero. Yeah. And then because of that, those who were in charge of the arts thought that what was needed was an awareness of people who never got any attention. And it swung. I mean, the pendulum, like I was exposed to, we had in my high school, a gay lesbian speaker came in and explained what it meant to be gay and lesbian. That was in 1993.
Oh, wow.
So it was a while ago, but it caused a big uproar, right? But the reason it was a big uproar is that the parents weren't given an opportunity to say, yeah, I do want my kids to be exposed to that. No, I don't. It had never occurred to me that somebody could be attracted to the same sex because I was attracted to the opposite sex. But so those in charge of the arts, what did they think media, what did they think society needed? I think they believed they needed an awareness of the diversity because everything up till then was wholesome, Leave It to Beaver, you know, Patty Duke, that's hilarious. Donna Reed on the shows. We had really wholesome. Then in the evening, we had the variety shows that were kind of risque.
Oh, yes.
But the kids were in bed,
Right.
and it was for the parents.
It was for the parents.
So I think you still had the mix, but the feeling of those who were trying to push this is that it was needed. I don't think they were trying to, some people attribute evil intentions, and I think there are people who are evil, but I don't think they think they're evil.
Right.
I think they're just trying to do what they think would be best for them and everybody else.
Right. And then we got to think about the cultures of the errors of the years of what was set towards the TV shows.
Sure.
So you think about, okay, back in the days of people coming back from Vietnam, the 60s, the 70s to the 80s of what shows were actually going on.
Right.
There were humor because we needed humor.
Where that, so situational comedies became, the bread and butter.
Yeah.
So what were the shows that you enjoyed most?
I would say I was more into like Chips Oh, yeah, everyone liked chips. You know,
Absolutely.
Ponch and Jean, you know, sunny California on their bikes. Then there was another one called Rescue. It was, and what was so amazing about that is they always called, you know, when they got the patients and they're working on people, they have this phone that was in this box.
Yes.
And they had to call, you know, and they had to call the doctor. And I'm thinking, there is such a thing that you could pick up a box and call, you know, as a kid, you're all like, I didn't know there was a phone that you can do that, you know. And so I always enjoyed those shows that you can, you know, learn something from. And of course, you know, in the later 70s, you know, you watched what was it? The $1 Million Man.
Oh yeah, Bionic Woman.
Oh yeah. You know, of course, Dukes of Hazzard.
Oh yeah.
You know, but
Of course, you can't mention them nowadays.
No,
because
no.
The what's the car? What was the car called?
General Lee.
The General Lee. Yeah.
Yep.
That
And it had a symbol on top
yes.
that I don't know if we can discuss, but
Sure.
you know.
Well, so let's discuss it
Yes,
because for some that's a symbol of heritage,
it is.
and for some it's a symbol of slavery
Yes.
and the desire to go back to slavery. And I think that's the
Well, so that the symbol of that flag actually represents a part of culture and a part of the South.
yeah.
Because I lived in the South for a short time. And so way back when the countries were still divided and in certain areas, that was their flag to represent, hey, this is us. And for us, or the American flag actually only had the 13 stars for the 13 colonies.
Right.
And so each actually state, as we all know, we have our own flag.
Yep.
So that's what some of the parts of the South had, was that flag, and that's what represented them.
Didn't it also represent the Confederate?
Oh yeah,
Because
Confederate Army.
and so when they were fighting against the North, which the Civil War turned into a fight over slavery, it didn't start that way.
No,
But Abraham Lincoln finally said, "Okay, God, let me. I'll do what's right. Let me help lead this, and we'll
right.
do it." So then when it shifted into from the South's perspective, hey, we want the freedom to, we are a federation, we get to choose for ourselves. And then the North saying, no, there are certain things that our federation doesn't allow.
Yep.
That all focused around slavery. So that symbol is closely tied
It is.
to slavery from the North's perspective. I wonder how many people who like that flag actually think about slavery at all.
I don't think so. I don't think they look at that flag and think of slavery.
Do they think of, oh, let's keep things separate from like a federalist perspective, like my state has the right to choose its own things? Or is that not a thing too?
We all have the right to choose.
Yeah.
We all have the right. Now, if I show you a piece of material or something, does that piece of material give you some kind of weird vibe that maybe I shouldn't think of this way, or should I think of it something different? If I give you a pencil and you spell something wrong, is it the pencil's fault?
No, it's my fault.
It's your fault. So same thing with the flag. It's not the flag's fault that some bad people represented that flag with
Okay.
slavery. Now, there was other things that were going on. I'm not a history buff whatsoever, but I do remember a little bit of things. A lot of it was to do with cotton.
Okay.
You know, where are we getting our cotton? Back in those days, it was the South. People were powered by this cotton.
A lot of money
A lot of money.
made when you don't have to pay
Right.
for hired help and you just inflate it.
Right. And so, and now the cotton trade was very incredible. So you think of cotton trade, sugar, all these materials came from the South. And so a lot of that started, hey, why they get this and people worked for free? It was this a chaos mess.
Yeah.
And so I don't think that flag should be representative as slavery.
Okay.
It is, to me, it is a symbol of the South. This is what they believed in. Was slavery bad? Of course. Is slavery bad today? Of course.
Yeah.
And so actually I have a picture of my mother back in the late 30s, early 40s, picking cotton in Bakersfield, California.
Oh, that's
Yeah. So, it's, and it does irritate me when people bring up that history of just not America, but as, there's so much things that go on, but slavery. It's happening today. It still happens right now as we're talking.
Yeah. In fact,
You know.
what we're seeing right now taking place is we are, so it's January, no, it's February, the first part of February right now.
Right.
And President Trump, that's awesome. President Trump car, no.
Trump. There you go. I trumped you. Sorry.
You did. It's just fun because now when we play Pinochle, we say our president's name again. But
Nice.
all right, so you have President Trump and his Doge crew, and the Doge crew is operating under the authority that Barack Obama set up to fix the healthcare website.
Yes.
I don't think most people realize that. That was kind of a
Yeah.
how did he empower them so quickly? Well, he just took what was already there, injected his own people into it,
Right.
and then they went and did. But we are discovering that so much time and money of the U.S. was spent on things that would then be turned around and used for evil purposes. And one thing that's being held up right now is the what is his name? They're trying to block him, and he wants to release the Epstein list, the list of those who flew to the private island where sex slavery was going on.
That's yeah.
And then if you did you watch The Sound of Freedom? Have
Yes.
you seen that movie? Yeah. There is slavery going on today, and so slavery is evil.
Yeah.
So those who are making it possible for slavery are evil.
Yeah.
Those who have a symbol, for some, it represents slavery, and I can see why they would think that those people are evil because they think the flag represents slavery. Now, for me, the flag represents the General Lee from Dukes of Hazzard,
Right.
and I just want to run and jump over the hood of a car and
Slide right. Yes. Yeah.
And if, by the way,
Because you're a good old boy.
that's right,
Right. Yeah.
them are up to no good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the problem with sliding across is if you had Levi's with the rivets, it did.
Oh,
Yeah, for now.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember the song?
Yeah, I think I could probably get it down.
Just the good old boys.
Yep. Never meaning no harm.
Yeah. Good job.
Do you know we
I can hum it. All right. Yeah. But and what was so neat about going back to watching those shows?
Yeah.
And kind of get the slavery to. I remember when Roots came out on TV.
Kuta Kinte.
Now that that was a big movement.
Yes.
Back in those days, because
You don't?
you learn a little bit of it in school.
Yes, they touch on it, but they can't go into detail.
I like how you said it. They touch on it, but didn't go into detail because there was so much, But anyways, when I sat there and I was young and I watched that, I was like, "Oh wow, that happened here."
Yeah.
That really happened.
Right.
And so, and reflecting on some of those old TV shows, and some of the history, even as the Americans, as us as Americans, and then some of the TV shows that were coming up, I loved watching. I think one of the best shows that I used to love watching was The Jeffersons.
Oh, really? Moving on up to the east side.
Yeah.
To a Dulat's apartment in the sky.
In the sky.
Yeah.
And I loved watching The Jeffersons. I don't know why, but then after watching that, I loved watching, and I'm trying to remember, there was another show, and there was Rerun.
Mm-hmm.
There was Roger. Roger was a tall, skinny kid, and it was just a bunch of young guys hanging out at a pub or at a like that.
Good times?
Good times.
Okay.
So yeah,
I think that's happy.
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, all those good TV shows. Yeah, my wife said Happy Days. I don't know how that came about.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
I remember that one.
You remember Happy Days?
Yeah.
I'd love
Sunday, Monday, happy day. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy day. Thursday, Friday, happy day. Day.
But it's weird how we're talking about all these TV shows that actually taught certain values, but then now social media today, what's it teaching our youth?
Well, so that I'm glad you brought that up, because for me, it teaches me how to build a post frame barnuminium. Yes, the RR channel guys, man, that's awesome. His name's Kyle, and he builds buildings. I watch him do it as if I'm going to ever do it.
Right.
But so I think it depends where you put your focus, because
Yes.
in the same way that flag could mean slavery to one, independence and culture to another,
Right.
which I think is interesting. Independence and slavery, what those are opposites, and yet
Totally opposites.
someone with the culture of the South and the federalistic perspective saying we get to choose how we behave and how we act, and then the others are slavery, which is to take away people's ability to choose and
Right.
freedom to act.
Yeah.
So if we look at social media today, it depends on what social media you're consuming and who you follow.
Yeah.
My kids love Mark Rober. And I don't know, have you ever seen his stuff?
Yeah, dude, perfect.
Oh, dude, the Dude Perfects. Now, I love. It's clean. It's Christian based. They do. I've heard rumors that they enjoy talking to youth. And so.
But, and Jenny will like this. It spurred a conversation about eating meat, and Matthew was like talking about how we needed to eat less meat, and he was gonna become a vegetarian, and I was like,
Don't do that.
why are you talking about this? And he said, well, I learned about it on Dude Perfect, and I was like, oh, so look it up. We took it as an opportunity to have that conversation and to read scripture, and
let him choose.
yeah.
Because, as I have always said, the less meat the vegetarians eat, the more I can consume.
I like that. That's a good idea.
I don't think there's anything wrong with being vegetarian,
And
but
vegetarians can make cheap dates.
they definitely
Unless
have
you
an
go to a special
agenda.
vegetarian
True.
place. Wow.
Yeah. You're going to pay a lot for that carrot because it was grown in this kind of mulch and this kind of dirt and this kind of earth.
And they herd their worms
And then it was
free into earth.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Eat your parrot, silly rabbit.
Okay, so what we were talking about is choice and where you choose to look and spend your time. And what was your take on? Because I mentioned the two that I like.
So it is so neat these days because I was thinking, hey, I got to work on my car.
Mm-hmm.
But there's stuff that you don't know about.
Right.
So it is so neat that these days we could, hey, I'm going to look up how to work on this.
Uh-huh.
Now, we're given this technology for good.
Yeah.
Now, it's a freedom of choice if you choose to do bad.
Right.
So there's that free agency again.
Yes.
So now we're not with our kids all the time. We wish that we were.
What?
I know, right?
Yeah, it's kind of nice right now. We're not with our kids.
Yeah. So
Sorry, kids. We love you.
put a chip in their neck and, call
There you go.
but it is
I put it on their hip. It goes,
oh, it's go on their hip.
yeah, because the phone has the chip in it. And
Oh,
they can
there we go.
Yeah, because they're glued to their.
Right. And so, but we learn all this, as kids, we were watching these Buck Rogers, for example.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Buck Rogers. Yeah.
Yeah.
All this technology as a kid, we didn't have, but now we have it. So now as parents, me and you, we're exploring like, oh my gosh, I could get so much out of this,
Yeah.
but we have to use our agency. We have to be careful what we look up and all this other stuff.
There is a lot of good and bad to be seen.
And so, even right now, we're using technology.
Yeah.
Everything that we do in our life is technology. Technology has come so far, so advanced. There's different things. This not as in us as in cameras and computers, but in technology of, hospitals, schools, and so forth like that. It's crazy what's out there.
Yeah.
So I mean, now we're even driving electric cars. I mean, they're not hovering. Like Back to the Future, they want that hoverboard.
In fact, you know what? Technology as a whole, the biggest disappointment to me from when I was a little kid growing up, Popular Mechanics, Popular Science, I used to read those and look through those magazines all the time. We were always just a few years away from the flying car.
Yes,
And
right there.
every time you would see like a new version, and it's like, well, that's more like a plane that drives on the highway, but I'll take it.
Right.
And then as an adult, Elon Musk, when he started talking about flying cars, all of a sudden this little thing went off, and I was like, oh, we're never going to do flying cars because it's too anxiety building to have something like going above you in the air that, Joe and his
Like the Jetsons.
yes, like the Jetsons, when you're beneath it, where his plan to go, hey, instead of going 3D space up, let's go 3D space down.
Right.
And then when something goes wrong, it doesn't go horribly wrong.
Yeah. So, I mean, you have been looking at advancements of so much that's going on.
What's your favorite so far?
Oh, gosh. So I did see something the other day that really, it actually hit home. It made me very emotional. And what it is, it's robotics.
Okay.
And it's for someone that's in a wheelchair that can't walk. And so, of course, we watch all these movies with Iron Man and all this, and that's what it reminded me of. And there's this young man in a wheelchair that can't walk, and it's a skeletized unit that actually comes to him and it clamps around him,
Okay.
and he can actually stand out of his wheelchair and walk.
Wow.
And I thought that was so amazing because back in the 70s, you'd see stuff like that on TV. But
You every now and again you'd catch the cables that were coming. out
right,
of the
yes,
thing.
or the starship with the string hanging.
Oh
down.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But seeing that was amazing. I mean, like, wow, it's finally happening. The technology's there, and so it's just really cool and really neat how. But we gotta use our technology smart
Yeah.
and wise.
What's your least favorite technology?
Oh, that's a good question. Man, I don't know. I would say, I don't know.
Well, while you think, I'm going to tell you one of my newest favorite technologies.
Okay.
Now, I haven't talked about this on a podcast yet.
Okay.
But I love heat pumps. Okay.
Heat pumps.
Heat pumps are one of the coolest technologies out there.
Yeah.
Now, that's a weird thing to say because you're like air conditioning and refrigeration. Yes.
Yeah.
But one of the coolest technologies that went into the Tesla vehicles was the octagon heat pump because if you're going to heat your electric car, you better just pull heat from the surrounding area, concentrate it, and put it into the cabin, as opposed to just using the batteries to generate heat. Well, now the coolest thing is these washer and dryer combos. They're called ventless dryer washer combos, and they are one device. And you put your laundry in, you start the wash, and then when the wash is done, it does the drying. And you don't need a vent and you don't need a 240 plug because it's so efficient. It takes the energy from your laundry room or wherever you have it, it pulls it in, it absorbs the heat from the surrounding area, concentrates it, dries the clothes, picks up all the moisture, dehumidifies the air, and then puts that back into the room. So you have just a little bit of heat gain, minuscule heat gain in the room. But normally what you're doing is you're taking the dryer, you suck the air in, you heat it, you put it over the clothes, absorb the moisture, take that hot moist air and stick it outside so that then you pull air from the outside back into your house, into that room, and you have to condition that air again. So you have to heat it and you have to cool it.
So it's amazing.
This thing does it all in one, and I am stoked about it. I think it's the way of the future. I think everyone's going to have one. It wouldn't surprise me if everybody went to these heat pump dryers and they go ventless so that the economy aspect of it is, a pretty quick return
Yeah.
on your investment there.
As a funny part of that, kind of reminds me of a kid. It sucks all the power out of you. It sucks all the energy out.
There you go.
Yeah. But and once again, we look back as we're youth and kids thinking about the old TV shows again.
Yes.
I love old TV shows. I talk about old TV shows all day long. But you always think of like the technology, or what we seen back then is what's coming out now. The electric cars. There's cars now that you don't even have to. You just sit there and it drives. And I think that's one of the ones that scare me the most.
Really?
The technology. You don't even have to put your hands on the steering wheel.
I love that.
Because I love the idea. Hey, I'm in control.
Yeah.
I can make the decisions if I want to go this way or that way. And so a friend of mine was telling me they were driving in a newer car.
Uh-huh.
And he says, there's something wrong with this car. And he was telling me a story about it. And he says, it won't let me make a lane change because
it resists.
it resists.
Yeah.
And so then it says, car near you, And so, I don't know I'm not too keen on that yet.
So I embrace it fully.
Really?
As soon as I don't have to drive myself, I'm all in.
Right.
I am so excited about it, and I trust it far more than I trust myself or others.
Right.
And the analogy I loved about it is how when you go to the shopping center now, you don't have to push the doors open; they slide out for you. Would you rather go back and replace it with some guy who's watching you come and have him slide it?
Right.
I don't, because he's gonna miss a little bit. But
Yeah.
when I was a kid and they were pressure sensitive, I had fun trying to figure out how. So you could just stand and without it opening. And then when they switched to the radar one, I would move as slow as I could and see how close I could get to the door. So if you can imagine a big, tall, goofy teenager standing about 2 inches away from the door, smiling really big because I got so close, so slow, the doors never open.
Okay.
I celebrated it.
I know exactly what you're talking about because for me, I was a nerd. I was still a Star Wars nerd, and so I thought I'd use my Jedi powers to open the door.
Nice.
So it opens our.
Yeah. The biggest disappointment as I was trying to walk so slow is other patrons. Because they would come in and out. And didn't they know I was on
You were on a mission.
You
were on a mission.
They were so inconsiderate. And, looking back, I wonder if I became dinner table conversation. You won't believe what I saw today at Swiss.
Did you see that kid?
Yeah. Man, they just let him.
Howard, I think that was one of those kids that, well, where was your parents at?
Exactly.
Let me ask you this. Did you always have a TV in your home when you were little, or did you guys get one, a newer one?
So I don't have a recollection of not having a TV. I have a recollection of my mom getting rid of the TV.
Really?
Yeah. So she was concerned. So I told you my goal in life was to consume as much TV as possible.
Yes. Yeah.
She was a good mom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cuts the cord.
Cut the cord.
Yeah.
So I remember when we went and got our first colored TV.
Oh, nice.
And it had a remote.
Like a clicker remote?
Like a clicker remote. So I wasn't the remote anymore.
Oh, that's cool.
Did you ever have to do that? Did you ever have to go up and turn the hey, turn the channel, and I was like, oh my gosh, I got to get up and turn the channel again, because I was the remote.
Right.
And so finally we bought a TV that had its own remote, and it was the neatest thing ever. And it was in color, and Dad had to hook up to the antenna, because
right.
What was cable? We didn't,
Cable.
That sounds suspicious. And so I remember just flipping through channels, and I remember my dad just like, don't you ever lose this remote, and so that was the coolest thing ever. I remember.
I remember the first remote I saw for a TV was at my granddad's house. And we went to the farm, and he had a console TV.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's just this piece of beautiful furniture with a TV stuck right in the middle.
Yep.
And he had the clicker And I couldn't figure out as a little kid how he was getting it to change channel. Because,
Yep.
it would just change.
Listen, it was magical.
Yeah, it was. And there was a definite click. But I was never allowed to change the channel.
Don't you touch it.
I was not allowed to even handle it. So, yeah. But, yeah, so I remember the remote. The first TV that we had that had a remote was in Texas. But the remote was connected with a cable. And it was about yay big.
Mm-hmm.
And it was white with a clear... a little piece of plastic that was clear and came out and hooked over and pointed to the numbers that was on the whole thing. And as you would shift it over, it had a light inside of the case, and the little clear piece of plastic would have a little bit of light come out and point to the number that you were on. And to change the channel, you would slide it, and it was connected to the TV, but it was a long cable, so it was remote.
Right. It was remote. That was remote. I remember we getting our first microwave.
I think my Uncle David gave us our first microwave. No, he gave us our first. It was my granddad gave us. We had an early microwave. My grandpa was a lot like me, or I'm a lot like him, and he was into technology, and he gave us a microwave. And for the longest time, it made my mom nervous. It was like, don't stand too close,
Right.
Get it on and back away.
Yeah.
As because it was new and nobody had one, but
Right.
oh boy, did we loved that thing. And it I remember it so clearly because you would turn the dial, and the physical dial you would turn, and to indicate that it was still had time left, it was colored on one side of that dial. So as you turned it, the orange strip would grow, and then as the timer went off, the orange strip would disappear.
Yeah. Yep. So that was incredible.
Are you guys laughing at me?
No, we think it's just you're bringing
We
back
remember.
old memories.
What microwaves do you guys know about?
I just remember something similar.
Yeah, I remember those kind of microwaves. Actually, the microwave we had at the house I grew up in was the microwave that we had for like the previous 10 years. So it was like old.
American made.
Yeah, and we had it forever.
Massive and heavy.
Yes.
So
Yep.
That's cool. And then we
it warmed up a cat who froze in Iowa.
You put a what? Wait a minute. You put a cat in a
My
microwave?
brother did.
Oh, that is so horrible.
Matthew. The cat was
cat
stuck.
dead?
Yeah, the cat was dead.
And so then he heated the cat in the microwave. So he started cooking a frozen cat.
He thought it might bring him back to life.
That might be.
Well, that's probably because of the TV show, The Incredible Hulk.
Yes, hitting
The
gamma rays,
Yeah.
and he was thinking that he could save the cat.
That's right.
Yeah, so good for him.
Then maybe make a super strong cat.
Yes.
So did you watch The Incredible Hulk?
Oh yes.
What was Bannon's first name?
After it.
Ben? I think.
Okay.
It was Ben.
I think halfway through they changed his name. I don't know if that's true,
I don't know.
but it became David.
That's right.
But it wasn't initially, I don't think. So I don't.
Yeah. So
David Banner.
David Banner.
That's what I remember. Do you guys remember?
No. Ben Banner. I don't know. I can't.
Did you ever watch TV?
I watched Pippi Longstocking.
Oh,
And of course, watch. Now I think that wasn't American, was it?
Oh, I think it was.
Do you think it was?
It was a Disney product.
Oh,
Pippi Longstocking?
Disney.
Yeah, don't get me started on Disney.
Oh, don't get me going on Disney.
So, how long have you not been a fan of Disney? We'll go there, and we won't go into details.
So, as I would say, that's a good question. I would say at least 4 to 5 years.
Okay. See, for me, decades.
Decades.
I've despised the Disney storyline. I'm a big fan of Jane Austen books because no matter how hard things are, it's going to end the way it ought to. And with Disney shows, I remember there was a movie, and this might be a false memory, but I remember watching the movie The Bear, and it was a live action one. And I was like, at least in this one, the parents aren't going to die. And then the mom dies. I was like,
It's a rub now.
I'm done. I'm not gonna embrace Disney. And there was one movie of Disney that I enjoyed, and that was Aladdin. And it was because of Robin Williams did such an amazing job.
Yeah.
That was a very enjoyable movie. Hated Lion King. Everyone's like the symbol of Lion.
Come on, David. Like,
Yeah, he just killed his brother.
yeah,
I don't like this.
yeah,
Right. So I just, sensitive kid,
yeah.
hated all the Disney movies except for Aladdin.
So there is some darkness that it's a conspiracy theory, if you want to call it that. But there are stories way back when some of the books first came out from the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, like Pinocchio.
Well, so you're talking about the fairy tale.
The fairy tale.
So those were written before Walt Disney.
Even got a hold of them.
Yeah, and he
animated them.
and he made them like nice compared
Yeah,
to the books.
Yeah, to the books. I mean, some of those were terrifying.
Yes, they were.
And so like
Isn't it?
beyond all that, so
Well,
like my wife, she loves to watch these shows that everything's okay
Yeah.
in this world of make believe.
Okay, I'm with her so far.
Yeah, and so it snows on sunny days.
That's
and,
fun.
And the flowers still pop up,
Nice.
and everyone's happy.
Perfect.
And I'm like, that's not the real world.
Yes, and that's why I watch them.
Yes. And it's just and I sit there and she'll like, you want to watch this with me? I'm like, what are we watching? And she'll tell me, and I'm like, no, I don't want to, because maybe I don't want the world to be okay.
Okay, so so there's some power to have an escape from the real world.
Yes.
There's also some really neat things that you can learn from things that have elements of the real world in them. And
Yeah.
that's kind of what you were talking about before, the shows that you used to watch when you were growing up versus
Yes.
the shows available today.
Yeah, I'd rather watch Black Hawk Down
Okay.
or, watch this story of, she lost her boyfriend, but he comes back because the horses, all this other stuff. It's like,
Oh man, don't get me started on horsemen. So Disney and horse movies are like,
Spirit. Is that
never watched
You like it?
it. I refuse to watch it. It's a horse movie. Man from what's the? No, you can take it.
the man? You don't like horse
The
movies?
Man from Snowy River, is that the show?
yeah.
No, I don't like that one.
Heartland.
Oh my god.
You watched that one.
Heartland I watched because of my wife.
Yeah.
But horse movies, the pacing of it
Oh yeah.
is always slow. And so they like the Horse Whisperer. I remember my mom and I I think we went and watched that together. So were we married?
Yes.
You would have come with us then, right? Did we go with my mom?
I believe we went to it. I don't remember if we went with your mom.
Okay. Well,
Your mom recommended it highly.
that's what it was. Okay, so my mom recommended The Horse Whisperer with Robert Redford.
Yes.
I like Robert Redford.
Yes.
I go and the first 6 minutes was just him sitting in the field
Staring.
at a horse, and I'm like,
They're having a good conversation.
oh, Chris. And then the next 7 hours is just horse and Robert Redford. And I'm like, well, my daughter loves horses.
Right.
Anna loves horses.
Yeah.
I don't love horses. I don't mind them. I like to ride them. It's fun, and
I like to put a quarter in and get on the plastic horse. Yes.
that's fun. But as far as it's not a passion of mine to sit there and look at horse flesh, nor is it a passion of mine to sit there and look at Robert Redford flesh. I don't care about either one.
Right.
So you do something.
Right.
Horse shows are designed to show scenery and beauty, and I get that. That's not for me.
I agree.
I want progression. I want some twists.
Yes.
I love the little mind twisters.
Right.
I love those things.
So
And I love watching movies with my wife. So I will watch Heartland, and I'll watch Wind Calls the Heart. Is that the show that?
How about Warhorse? Had you seen Warhorse?
I have not seen Warhorse.
Yeah,
That's me.
that is a little bit more, I think, up your alley.
Okay, so that name makes me think that someone's trying to trick me into watching a horse.
I'm just saying, there's some action.
Okay.
There's a little bit of, there's a horse in it. I hate to say that, but there is a horse in it. But it is really neat.
Okay. Now, the best horse movie I ever saw was this horse movie where some blind lady would dive off of a platform with a horse.
A blind lady.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure she was blind.
She
believe this
became blind in the movie.
Oh, I was about to say, how'd she find the platform?
I'm trying to
The
remember
horse
the
did.
name of
Oh, the horse did.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so the horse would come running up this platform and see this. I enjoyed the only part of the movie I remember. The horse would run up the platform and she could hear it coming and she would reach out, grab onto the harness, and then they would jump off of this 20-foot platform into a pool of water. That was a cool one. That was
And wasn't that based on a true story?
Oh, it had to be because it has to be. Who else would have come up with a cool horse movie? Horse movies, by design, are to show scenery and beautiful things. War Horse, I bet you it's based on a real story.
It is.
Because
It's based on a
otherwise,
true story.
it would be cool.
No. Did you ever watch Lassie?
Oh yeah, I did.
I wasn't a fan of Lassie.
I wasn't a fan either, but
I watched a couple.
I would watch it.
Now, back the older movies like Lassie, I'd watch The Rifleman.
Oh yeah.
I love The Rifleman.
What about Flipper?
Flipper, actually, I did. What was so amazing is the kid would grab this little and put it in the water.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's the coolest thing.
I want to do that.
I want to do that. I want to go to the ocean and get this.
And bring in the dolphin.
And probably a great white shark would eat me. And so, yeah. And so I just thought that was really cool because also the dad was a fish and game warden
I didn't know that.
or a ranger of some sort.
I didn't pay attention to anything apparently because when you said there was a dad, I was like, there was a dad?
Yeah.
I just remember the kid.
Gilligan's Island. You watch
Oh, yeah.
Gilligan's Island?
Now that is a theme song you can get behind.
Right.
So
Because you just want to take a 7-hour tour.
that's right.
That's all you want to do.
I
3
think it was
hours.
like 3 hours.
Was it 3 hours? Was it 3 hours? Then it ended up as 7 years.
Yeah, that's it. So the thing I love about that theme song is anybody who has never seen the show before can start watching, and it says, "Hey, this group of people they wanted to go out on a 3-hour tour. The weather started getting rough. The tiny ship was tossed, but luckily there was the big blue shirt guy,
The captain.
Skipper, right?
Skipper.
And his helpmate, the red-shirted skinny
Gilligan.
guy, hugging him, saving everybody."
Yes.
Well, and it did the intros, and the professor and Marianne, and right, it did all the intro in the opening scene. That is what I loved about good opening scenes, like DuckTales.
DuckTales.
Yeah, it would do an intro. It would do an intro.
I'm interested.
Yes. The intros.
You knew what it was about. Like Jefferson's, just talked about that a little bit ago.
Yeah.
They told the story.
Of how they got there.
That's right.
Yep.
So that you knew the theme of what you're about to watch,
Right.
and it would fit in. And they don't do theme songs anymore. Except
every now and
again. Now, Psych. Oh my goodness, Psych has a theme song, and when I heard them start the theme song, I was like, I'm in. Because the theme song told you what the show was about.
He made it his ringtone on
My
the
kids
phone.
love
I
that show.
did make it my ringtone. I love that show.
Three's Company.
There you go.
Oh. Come knock on my door. Yeah.
Yeah, we
And so and that show.
Hers
Holy.
and hers and his. It's Three's Company too.
Oh. Man, that was such a good show.
Yes. And yet now I watch it and I cringe.
Yeah, like
I was like,
ooh.
ooh, I had no idea.
I didn't know that word.
That and Cheers. Like
Cheers.
You tried to what? That's another
Cheers and MASH.
MASH. Oh.
Watching them when I
MASH,
was a kid. Now that I watch them now, and it's like way different.
So out of the ones that you mentioned, Cheers. That was. So it was. I stopped watching it because I was gonna like, oh, I love Cheers, and then I was like, oh, my standards have changed, or I know too much.
There you go. Yeah.
And so, but MASH, when I started rewatching that, it was sprinkled in to the themes. But with Cheers, that was like the whole point.
Yeah.
What was the other one you mentioned?
I think it was just those two.
Okay.
So I remember, like, as a child back from the 70s, 70s as we go, 80s, getting into the early 80s, mid 80s. Then you got the TV shows like Silver Spoons.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
What was the guy's name? Man, we had
Ricky Schroeder.
That's
Ricky
it.
Schroeder. Yeah.
Boy, were the gals into him.
Oh yeah,
I looked at him
stamina, and I looked in the mirror and I was like, "What she got? That's not bode well for me. I have not like
Ricky Schroeder.
right,
So
right." And so then there were some interesting shows that came up back in the '80s. You know, this is the '80s time.
18.
18. Oh,
Once again, theme song. Tell
theme
us the song.
song. Here we go. You know, back in Vietnam, where there was a special group. You know, and so
If you can find them, maybe you can hire the A team.
yeah, you know, and that's when Mr. T, you know, who is this dude with a mohawk, got all those chains, and
A pity fool.
yeah, and everyone had wanted to be, hey, I'm gonna be like Mr. T.
That's funny. I wanted to be Hamilton.
Really? Oh, sit there and be the cool guy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or Face.
I didn't want to be Face because he seemed stupid.
Yeah.
And I was like, I already have tendencies towards that.
Yeah.
I think he'll, yeah.
Yeah. If my wife could probably pick out a character that I'd be the crazy guy.
Oh, Murdoch.
Murdoch. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He was fun.
He was the little goofy one, little kind of like, you know, kind of did his own little thing. But he was the pilot.
He was.
He was the pilot.
And so, actually, he gave me great faith in our aviation industry because I figured if someone that crazy could land things the way that he was able,
Yeah.
that these sober people who weren't crazy they could take us on planes and get us down safely just fine.
Yeah. But then you look at of how many hundreds of rounds that they would shoot at the bad guys, but no one died.
Yeah,
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Like no one died.
that didn't see. Funny that you mentioned that part because one of the life lessons that my mom taught me was after. I think it might have been Face, might have been Murdoch, but one of the actors had a blank gun and was fooling around with a blank, and it had enough force of the little tinfoil stuff coming out that it killed him.
Yes.
And so when my mom broke that to us, she was like, "Hey, this is someone that you enjoy watching on TV is now dead.
Yeah. Playing with a gun.
I'm going to share with you how."
Yeah.
And so then it made it so I was very careful with firearms.
Being aware.
And even, it made the lessons that you treat every firearm as if it's loaded. Oh, with a heart.
Yep.
But then also, even when you think and and it's safe, you still don't do things that are stupid. So my mom used that tragedy. And it's ironic that in the show, they're shooting everybody and no one dies. And yet that happened to one of the actors.
He did. Yeah.
So, yeah. When you were in movies, did you choose, were you able to know what the movie was before you showed up?
No. So one of the big movies that I was in was Starship Troopers.
Yeah.
And so when we got on set, they kind of tell you, hey, this is the set. This is, you kind of already start looking at things like, oh, this is, a sci-fi, something's going on, and they take you into costume rooms and show you all your costumes and some of the stuff that you're going to be doing. And then you start like, this is a big production. I mean, it's big. It's, we're at the Sony down in Los Angeles, and Sony was the major thing of it. And so I was like, this is pretty cool. I never worked on a sci-fi movie before. And so they get you into character, you get your costume on, and, this is crazy. And so you're out there with, a couple hundred other, extras and, we're all talking. I mean, I was on set for at least a good 2 to 3 months, and some of it was filmed in Utah but most of it was filmed in Los Angeles. And just really neat how, and to find out later, it was a book made back in the 50s.
Oh, interesting.
And so I didn't know that. And it was the first time I got to see green screen. Oh, because a lot of it was green screen, of course, because the aliens and stuff like that. And working with all these extras and it was really neat to see how things came together.
Yeah.
As in the movies.
So you experienced behind the scenes. You were there. You watched the production take place, and then were you satisfied with the results? Was it like, hey, that's cool, I'm now part of that thing that was created?
Right. And so it was really neat to see how everything progressed and how people came together as a team to work and to put things together. And because for me, I only seen bits and parts.
Right.
I wasn't there through the whole thing.
Right.
And so a lot of these people work on these movies for years. I mean, you think of like Lord of the Rings.
Oh, yeah.
Those people were on that for
Ages.
ages and ages and ages. I mean, and so they grew up on those programs.
Oh, that's fun. So on there. So what we'll do is we will
There you go.
turn this, and I'll get closer, and we'll just swap this out. But the nice thing is, if someone gets to this point, they were really interested in watching us. Right?
All right. I think some people would be interested in watching us.
You think some people what?
Are interested in watching people.
Yeah, I think some people are.
Have you ever seen those people at the mall that just sit there?
Yeah, I just figured they're on break.
Yeah, no, they like watching people.
Really?
Yeah.
They're people watchers.
So it's people watchers.
Let's do this.
Oh,
They're people watchers.
And if you need to tilt it up, go for it.
okay.
So you got your own camera person.
Yeah,
Isn't that cool?
it's nice. She does a lot. She does. She handles the catering. She takes care of the.
Catering. I plan all the weddings.
She does plan all the weddings.
Yeah.
So
But being in, I was in a couple films, a couple of the TV shows. I don't know if you ever heard of Baywatch.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember a friend of mine, he wanted to be in movies. And so he asked me to go to Hollywood with him to go get or go talk to some people about how to get into the movies. And so there was, of course, Hollywood, you try to find an agent or something like that. So he found this casting call company. And so I told him I'd go with him. No. And so I went with him. And I walked in with him and he's talking to these people. I'm just sitting there and the guy looks at me and says, "Are you here too to, do the same?" And I said, "Oh, no. I said, I don't want that, And so these were this was 90, And so we surfed. We're skaters and surfers. And so my hair was really a little bit different. Well, not as white,
yeah.
but as gray.
I can imagine though that if that was the culture and the life that you were living, you were
Yeah.
probably just perfect.
Perfect,
They-
perfect tan, perfect. Yeah, right. And so, and he said, "Well, what do you want a job too?" He says, "It pays this much money per day. You'll be working on a TV show." And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know." And my friend Chris is all, "Dude, please hang out with us and let's do it." I said, "Okay, fine." So they gave us some paperwork. We had signed and all this. And I said, "Well, where is the job?" And they said, "Well, it's at Venice Beach." Early morning. You have to be there at like 6 a.m. before, Venice Beach becomes populated. So we get down there. And so we were told to wear our surfing stuff, skating stuff, bring, some stuff. And so we started, mingling with other people and understanding what we had to do and all this. And, it's Baywatch. It's like, wow, this is pretty cool, And so then you start seeing the actors come out.
Right.
David Hasselhoff. You can't miss him. You might have an inch on him. I don't know. He's a pretty tall cat. and so they grab me, "Hey, you know how to skate?" I'm like, "Yeah, I can skate." They're all, "We need you to go down this hall and David Hasselhoff is going to kind of push you off your skateboard a little bit. He's going to be chasing these bad guys." And I'm like, "Really? I'm going to get hit by David Hasselhoff? That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool." And so I said, "Okay." And so early morning, here I am, skate shorts, skateboard, ready to go. And here's these cameras and freeze. And I'm like, wow, there's like a lot of cameras looking at you. And so they're all, "Okay, and action." And I'm like, "What? You want me to do what?" And so two of the mishaps was on me because I didn't know I was supposed to do anything. But after I got the hang of it and Mr. Hasselhoff is a cool cat.
Yeah.
A really cool cat. And so we did our scene. We broke. They went to another location or did something else. And I remember it was lunchtime. And so me and my friend Chris were sitting there, and there's these trucks, that you can go get food off of. So we went to go get some food.
Yeah.
And I didn't pay attention who was behind me. And I kind of glanced, and it was Pamela Anderson.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's Pamela Anderson. As a teenager or as a young man, I was like, uh-oh, what do we do? And so I said, excuse me, would you like to go in front of us? Because she's a movie star, And she, oh, no, you were here first. No, you were here first. And she says, well, excuse me. She said, I do have a question. She says, do you mind watching my dog? She had this little dog on a leash, and she's, I got to run back and go get something. And I'm like, holding Pamela Anderson's dog. How many people could say that you got to watch Pamela Anderson's dog? Okay, it was 5 seconds, but in my mind, it was forever. Guys, it was forever.
That's awesome.
And so nice people, though. I mean, the nicest crew. David Hasselhoff played football with us for a little bit, threw the ball around. This really, really neat. But there was a couple cool shows I was in. Just as an extra, Now I want to go back and become a movie star, but yeah, I don't know. Agents keep calling me, and
Oh, he just won't meet your requirements.
right. And so, I mean, how many other Rocky Roads do you know?
That could carry the one.
Yeah,
Really?
no.
Yeah.
So another cool one that I was in that I didn't really think too much of it, but did you ever get to watch it's a character, and I'm trying to think of the name. It's Dwarf Plays Golf. You ever seen those old Dwarf Plays Golf?
Never.
And so it's Tim Conway.
Oh.
And so
Kidding.
Yeah.
I love Tim Conway.
And so he makes these videos of him being about this tall playing golf, and it's really funny. And so he did one called Dwarf Plays Baseball. And so I got a call to be in that as a baseball player and a fan and stuff like that. And that was pretty cool. And so there was a lot of neat opportunities to be in these shows and to learn actually how production works. And that's what I was thinking. I wanted to learn how production works, how all this, comes together. And because I've always been, related to TV. I love TV shows. Now I get to be a little bit a part of them back in the, the 90s. The X-Files. Do you like the X-Files?
Scully and what's
Yeah.
I
don't.
David.
David? Was it David?
David and somebody.
Yeah.
Well, that's his real name.
My problem with X-Files is didn't have a good theme song. Yeah, that does. Spooky, like
Spooky. Yeah. So I was in the movie.
what?
Yeah. So I was in the movie with
movie
X-Files.
Was there a movie before the TV show? Because I thought the movie came in after the TV show,
did.
and that would have aged you out. I would have thought.
Yeah. So this was
Because you and Jenny have been married for ages.
yeah. I think dirt just got invented. So
How many years?
Since 98.
Oh, since 98.
Yep.
So we're coming up to 20.
Holy
moly.
27 or some.
Okay.
I can't count that far, but but I was in the movie, and there was a scene of a young man that fell in a hole, and I was one of the people running to the hole.
Nice.
So once again, who wrote production or that scene? Me. So I didn't know I was supposed to take my sunglasses off because the reflection shows the cameras and.
So, and I'm the type of guy who would be like, bet you I could see that. Let's freeze it. Zoom.
Yeah, you see, yeah. So that was me ago. And so, it's a good opportunity to, and there's so many things that go on in production, in the V business and stuff like that. And then a friend of mine, he asked me, and I didn't know this, but he was a not he wanted to be a camera guy, but he worked in lighting. He was what we call a grip.
Yeah.
And so he asked me to come to work with him one day down at some studios, and I really enjoyed it. So then I became a grip for a while and understand lighting and all the stages and all that stuff. So that was kind of cool, and I think that's where my thing of watching TV shows and stuff like that come from. So really enjoy it. So
Because you probably appreciate the work that went into something you enjoy.
lot of work, a lot of work, and so I've always wanted to be in something that was like Mission Impossible. I think that was cool.
That is cool.
Yeah. Did you ever watch the old Mission Impossible?
The old ones, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And in fact, rewatched them as an adult, and it did not age out. So Sarah, she knows that I always
Tom Cruise. You a Tom Cruise kind of guy?
no, I was Tom Cruise is great.
Yeah.
The fact that he does his own stunts, he's like Jackie Chan in that way, and I appreciate that. But no, Sarah, she'll catch me watching. Like recently, I started watching The Bionic Woman again. So, $1 Million Man.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
What?
Did you see the episode that Kate?
What is wrong with The Bionic Woman?
I didn't say anything.
Okay.
I really liked
Spin-off
Wonder Woman.
From
Wonder Woman was good.
yeah,
Yeah, Wonder Woman.
I
You didn't watch that one? Did your mom not let you?
I watched it at my grandparents' house one summer. Was not it was not normalized in my home.
Yeah. She needs to be more
Covered.
covered. Yeah. Wonder Woman.
Looking back, it's like, wow, the I Dream the Genie was far worse than Wonder Woman.
Oh, yeah. I love it. Yeah. Well, that was back in the day because they showed her belly.
Yes, but not her navel.
No, you can't show the navel.
That's right.
And it was the upper.
Now we're like wishing that was still the case.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, on TV, you see a lot more body parts than you used to. That's a
Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah, you do.
But
Yeah.
well, Rocky, this has been very fun.
Yes.
Are you to do it again?
Let's do it.
Okay. And so if you just one final question, just to like, if you were now that your kids, you have all your kids married except one,
Just one.
and she is a very beautiful young woman. I could see that she would be attracting the widest range of young men from
Not yet.
really
No. I don't want her to.
well, yes, your desires of
Yeah.
might not have anything to do with it.
I don't. Yeah.
But so if you could have one say in the type of young man that your daughter would attract, what type would you hope that she would be, get on the hook and reel in down the road someday?
Down the road.
when you're
Oh, I would say, well, there's a couple words.
okay,
Humble.
humble.
I want the person to be humble. Have integrity. And so those words kind of go over quite a bit,
Yeah,
And so we were talking about this at work this other day about kids. Who do you want your kids to, And because a lot of people say, what's the saying? Oh, I want you to marry someone like your father, or I want you to marry someone like your mother.
right.
So I don't know where that came about. Is it true? I don't know. I don't think I'm like my wife's dad. I don't think so. I mean, he was a pretty smart guy.
I know I am not like my wife.
Yeah. So, and
Hi, Steve.
Both wonderful.
both wonderful people. I'm not, I can't, there's no way I can outdo my father-in-law Stan. That, he was an incredible man, but we always want the best for our daughters.
That's right.
Our children.
Kids.
We always want the best.
That's right.
And so I just hope the best happens.
So you chose integrity, which some people can simplify that down to honesty, but integrity actually
It's a big
umbrella.
a big umbrella. Right.
And then you said humility,
Right.
which I don't think I've ever heard someone say that's an attribute they want their kids to pursue.
So I want someone, if they mess up, they know they messed up. And be able to admit that
That is a good quality.
yeah. So As we do we do that as, adults? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. So
It is helpful though having a helpmate who's willing to gently nudge and sometimes stab to remind
yes.
me.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've got wounds. I got scars. Yeah. No. It is nice. And yeah.
Well, thank you, Rocky.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah.